Nino Kuni. Say it 3 times fast. Nino Kuni, Nino Kuni, Nino Kuni. No. Nino Kuni, Nino Kuni, Nino Kuni. There you go. Got it. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. As I do every single weekend on Netflix, I'm reviewing the brand new movie or television show, and today's movie is a Japanese anime film called Nino Kuni. I need you in the comments down below. Are you familiar with the games? Have you explored this lore in the past? And did you enjoy this film? Let's get into it. So, high schooler Yu and his friend Haru get involved in a case involving childhood friend Kotona, which forces them to go back and forth between another world that is different but somewhat similar to their world. So this film was directed by Yoshiyuki Momose and is based on very popular games that I'm sure many of you who are watching this review have played in the past. So I'm actually a newcomer to the franchise in general. I tried to do as much research as I possibly could, but I didn't really want to spoil where the movie was going, so I went in semi-blind. And I need you guys to let me know in the comments, smash that thumbs up button. Are you fans of the games? And if so, I'm curious. I'd love to start a conversation. Were you a fan of this film? Because from an outsider's perspective, someone who is unfamiliar with the majority of the lore, and I'm sure it is more well thought out and way more fleshed out in the game than it was in this film, but I still saw some ideas and some concepts to really like within this movie that ended up getting me intrigued about this franchise and invested in these characters, even though at the end of the day, when the film was over and I turned it off, I did want just a tad bit more out of it. I do really like these characters. Yu and Haru are two obvious best friends, and their relationship is something that continuously gets fleshed out throughout the entire film through the use of flashbacks, through the use of dialogue and conversations that ended up being very intriguing. And where this film goes, I won't dive too deep into where we go in the third act, just in case you haven't watched the film. If you are a newcomer to this franchise, I do encourage you, maybe not even the film, but I do encourage you to get invested because this story is very interesting. You have these two worlds. You have our world, and then you have Nino Kuni, where they go back and forth, but what happens in this world affects that world. What happens in that world affects this world, and it's that relationship that you're curious about through the entire film. Now, once we get into the meat of things, and mostly into the third act, we do encounter some characters where their motivations become very predictable. I mean, you see this guy, and I'm not going to say who it is from a mile away, and you're just like, yeah, I can probably tell where his character is going, and the story beats just feel a tad bit formulaic, too formulaic for this concept, too formulaic for what seems to be a very layered story brought to us. It almost feels like this should have been multiple films as opposed to just one, because we do go from beginning to end. It feels like we're rushing all the way through it. I was interested. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I enjoyed so many moments within this film, and I saw the light. I saw what longtime fans see in this series, in these characters, and I definitely want to go check out more of this. This film, say what you will about the movie, got me excited to invest myself a bit more in this lore, but what it didn't do is it did not flesh out the characters, and I'll keep coming back to that word, fleshing. We didn't flesh out these characters. We didn't flesh out the story enough. There are so many characters who hit that bait and switch all of a sudden. They feel one way, and you understand the motivation. You understand that we have to do this now so I can save the life of the one that I love. But then they make that switch, and you don't buy the turn because it's not built up enough within the film. It feels like it almost happens immediately. And in the character of Kotona, I didn't learn enough about her to care as much as our main two characters felt, because obviously they have a deep love and passion for her, and then the alternate version of her almost within this other world, and whatever happens to this version of Kotona in this world affects, we'll say that, the character in the alternate world, vice versa, and the entire time you're trying to figure out how does this apply to our main two characters, because it feels like everyone has almost an alternate version of themselves within this other world, and then you have our main two characters who can jump through the portals almost, if you will, going back and forth. I'm trying to simplify the terms. I know these aren't the correct terms, but once again, as a newcomer to this franchise, it's really, really cool. And I would like to see more, and I would like to learn more, but that's the problem, is I just didn't learn enough with this film. Talking about the animation, I really enjoyed the animation. It was beautiful at times, but I did see some critiques online, and I kind of feel a similar way. This is a film, by the way, that came out in Japan last year and was not bashed by everyone, but just wasn't as accepted as many wanted it to be. Netflix bought it out. Now, Studio Ghibli, who did some of the animation for the video game, did not actually work on this film. And while it does feel at times like a Studio Ghibli movie, it's not as rich as a film under that banner. It's not as story driven, I believe. They try their best to cram so many things in here, and at times it works, and I enjoyed the action scenes, and I enjoyed a lot of things within the third act, but then you get into the predictability of who the villain inevitably ends up being. There's certain characters, when you see them, you automatically know what's going to happen, and a lot of things feel rushed. So it could not come together to create a really good movie, even though I will still say I think this movie's okay. So if you guys enjoyed this review, if you want to see me do more anime reviews, I'm actually going to watch Weathering with you later on today. I don't know if I'm reviewing it on this channel. If you'd like to see that, definitely let me know and smash that thumbs up button. I may do it, but I will do it on Letterboxd 100%. With this film, my score, I'm going to go 60%. Like I said, I still found a lot of things to like, and the overarching story is really cool. They just crammed so many things within that, I could not get over that mark. But it is still a movie worth watching on Netflix if you have nothing else to do, in my opinion. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoy these Netflix reviews, stay tuned because I have a review for Sex Education coming out later on today, and possibly more. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you soon.